when I started my own independent relationship with God in high school, I was still very headstrong, and I also knew who I was, but it really helped me shape who I wanted to be in the future. So I loved it, every piece of it. Like having those youth nights, I was coming around, being around people who were on fire for God, and it really drove me. But that was only good for as long as I was there. And I knew who I was and I knew what I liked, but I didn't all the way understand like how to keep that connection, how to keep what I was looking for. So because I couldn't keep it, one of the things that I ended up having was, and when I moved off to college, was I lost that intimacy that I really loved when I was back at home and when I was back at youth ministry. Everybody was pushing like, you gotta go ahead and do it yourself, running track. Like if you're not running, you're trash. If you're not lifting, you're trash. Like, but if you're doing these things, like you could build your own self-confidence. And in that, like I really start to have this identity of like, oh, I could do it myself. I could really I could do this. Like I could put all these pieces together. So leaving college, I'm now like missing a whole piece, but I'm still trying to make a complete puzzle. And I'm like, it's not working. I was able to get places on my own, but not without the shame that came with it. So I was able to grow a little bit, but I would still fall into this piece of like, oh, but what about this? And the sad part is that there was always going to be that conversation that I was going to have with myself, but I was able to find an answer in that while I was listening to a Bible study, or when I went to a service. It talked about approaching God through the cross versus approaching God through like a ladder, where on the ladder, as far up as you go, there's only two directions on a ladder. You're either going up or you're coming down. And I spent most of my time on my ladder coming down. So eventually you get tired of falling, and you get tired of like having to pick yourself up and look around and compare other people's ladders to yours. And eventually I saw and I started to realize that like God did all of this for me. He made it easy for me, and I really could sit down and receive the gifts that he gave me. So learning to approach God through the cross helped me identify grace, the type of grace that really showed yourself and like was able to help build you, and you build other people, because it's not about actions, it's more about what God has done. And so like being around Rodney and Shayla really allowed me to find myself. It really allowed me to see like all of this has been here. It just needs to be like explained in a way that is able to help me see who I am and others to see who they are. And I think a place that you can believe and belong is really all that you're really looking for.